Good morning, y'all. Good morning. It's actually evening here. I'm pre-recording this because I'm going to be working in the morning. Please forgive my messy hands. I've been hard at work all evening, and I'm excited to bring you my first project share of 2020. These are policy envelopes, and they were a lot of fun to make. They were not my original idea, or rather, I was inspired by Handcrafted by Ali, and it was a tutorial I watched where she did this like really interesting vintage mixed media kind of tag, and I sort of took inspiration from her project sharing tutorial. Then I'll put that link down below. Yes, they turned out to be very different than what I saw on that video, but they still inspired. That project is what inspired me. Sorry, folks. So these were rather complicated to make, and I'm going to take you through them as quickly as I can. This is one of my faves, so we can get you nice up and close and personal. So in order to make these, what I did was I took a basic policy envelope. I distress stained it on all of the seams and the edgings, the interior, with vintage photo. And then what I did was I gessoed or gessoed the whole piece, but more like dry brushing barnyard door type of gesso. And then over that, I did some dry brushing of turquoise, a light lavender, some brushed copper, a whole bunch of different colors in a palette that I knew I wanted to use. And then on some of those, well, on all of them, I then did like a stamp pattern. On this one, you can see it a little bit better. I did like a stamping pattern across all of them. And then on some of them, I overlaid on top of that some of this metallic gold, I don't know what you guys call this crinkling stuff. And then on top of that, I took, well, these are Maggie Holmes. So this is from one of the paper pads I've been hoarding. This sheet was shredded from, I'll show it to you. I've only ever found, my husband is like laughing at me because I take this, so this was like a labor of love, this project. And I made several of them, and I'm excited to show them to you, but he's laughing at me because I'm like so serious. Okay, so I've only ever found one of these. I think this is one of her first pads ever. It's just called the Maggie Holmes paper pad. And I found this at Tuesday Morning, like, I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe longer, before I ever came on YouTube. And I loved it because it was all vintage, and I loved the pages, but I have never found one of these since. So I try not, this is like the only pad I hoard. I try not to use it, except if I want to do something really, really, really special. So I'm not going to tell you what this is for, but you know, I'm working on challenges and swaps. So I took some of that paper. There it is there. It's from one of my favorite sheets in that pad. I distressed all the edges with like scissors and a knife. Then I distress stained them. Over here, this is paper that I coffee stained today. So I have like a whole bunch of it drying. My husband is really laughing. He's like, the house has become an art studio. I coffee stained that. And then on top of that, I overlaid one of the amazing Holtz Ideology photo booths. I love this, folks. People gifted this to me in the Holy Land, and I was like bananas over it. So it's like, my husband is like really laughing at me today. I don't know what is going on, but he thinks this is a riot today. Okay, so this has like 40 of these sheets, and I love them. So I think Lauren Cunningham and Carmen gifted these to me in the Holy Land, and when I got back, it's one of the first things that I bought for, I'm not going to say, I almost said what it's for. Okay, so I overlaid that, and then I used one of the Holtz Ideology, not the snarky ones, the regular sentiments, and I layered that up over some of this love letter paper. This is one of my favorite paper pads too that I found, and he's laughing again at me, at Tuesday Morning about a year ago, and I have not found any since, but I love this pad. It's like all postage, handwriting, vintage overlays, like it's all about postal art. So I love it. Love it. And then I distress stained that all the way around, and then I did the same thing down here, and then I attached these two florals are from Hobby Lobby. I think that's like the Paper Studios Peppery, and then I distress stained those, And this one is actually a Recollections flower, and I distress stained all of those. And then up here, I pierced it with my crocodile, attached this little floral piece with a Tim Holtz Brad, and that is basically how you make one of these. So this is the first one. I love this one. I really love this one. There's that Maggie Holmes paper. And this one says, "Be your beautiful self." Oh, I love this one. This one, I did something a little different. I'll tell you that this is paper from Gather, not from the early MH pad, but from Gather. And that actually I crumpled, stained, and then I used a little of Tattered Angels, the gilding spray. If you remember, I usually make this shimmer spray myself, but last year at Hobby Lobby, it went on sale from $4.99 to $124. So I picked up some that I keep here. And so this is the gold. So I used that, and it's actually quite dimensional. Oh yeah, you can see that it is. I don't think you can pick up the Tattered Angels because it's really subtle. Layered that up over some of that distressed paper that I used on the tag projects, stained the edges, did the same thing down here, and then this is a Recollections flower. So there's that one. And each one is different and inspired by, I don't want to say what. This one says, "What makes ordinary is often the extraordinary." And this one I double braided it like Ali did in her video, but I chose not to do that moving forward. I actually like it loose. So it's interesting. In the prototype, I liked it pegged down with the brad, and in the final product, I didn't. And this is also a piece from Gather that I fussy cut and then tore out, distressed, stained. And this is also from Gather, but that's the musical sheet that I distressed and stained. And this is a flower that is from Recollections that I just distressed. And the same thing down here, he's laughing. And the same thing, they're all distressed on the back, all stained on the back. And then I have a bunch that I have not finished yet that are a little bit different. Like for instance, this is one that I created using an overlay that's on top of all of the painting I did and the stamping. And I actually love how this turned out. So there's that one. And then this one I'm not quite finished with yet. I feel like it's missing something. This one is, again, there's that vintage Maggie Holmes, maybe her first ever pad, distressed. And that's laid over coffee paper that I soaked and then distressed and then dyed. From here is hanging a book that says, "You Are My Happy Ending." And it's actually a little journal that can be written in, which I think is awesome. And then some more of that paper down here. And then this one just says, "Cultivate Kindness." But I feel like it's missing something here. And we all know I'm not a bling person, which is probably what it needs here. Because I tried different florals, I tried different cut aparts, even flowers that I've made, and I wasn't happy with it. And I don't know. Well, I need to sleep on this one. So folks, I really had a lot of fun making these. The bestie was over for dinner tonight, and she was like, "This is a ton of work." And I was like, "Yeah, but it's really beautiful work." And I love making projects like this where I start with my own painting. So I found this really joyful to make and really fun to make. And these are just envelopes, which is why my husband's laughing. He's like, "All that work to make 5 envelopes." And it's like, yes, but look at them. So I hope you enjoyed this project share. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. And I look forward to seeing you guys towards the end of the day. Whatever you do today, I hope it gives you tons of happiness. I hope that you're super inspired. Yeah, and just wishing for you an easy, peaceful, and creative day. All right, y'all. See you later. Bye for now.